welcome to another episode of the I Can Do It podcast. I'm your host, April Burke, and I have a great guest today, entrepreneur Singh Kandola. And how are you, Rocky?
I'm doing very well, April. Thank you for having me today.
No problem. I know that you were born in the Bronx. I'm a neighbor. I was born in Queens.
Nice.
Yes. Now, I watched other podcasts that you were on, and you talked about how your father sent you back to India at age 11 because you were kind of a bad boy, huh?
Yeah, I guess to say the least, I was a little bit of a bad boy.
And then you mentioned that in your high school years, you were in boot camps. Could you tell me about that?
Yeah, definitely. So, India was basically just kind of like him wanting to kind of get me out of his way for a little bit, a little cultural experience, and kind of focus on other things for a bit. The boot camps kind of started at the age of 12. The first one I was sent to was in Mexico. It's called the Worldwide Association of Specialty Programs, and they are basically a for-profit business that tells parents a multiple number of things and brings these kids in by escorting them to the facilities, which they get waking up in the middle of the night, hands cuffed, feet cuffed, and brought whisked away to these schools all around the world. You get there, your clothing is stripped, all your items that you have with you are taken away, your hair is shaved, and you get into this really strict regimented routine with a lot of, I guess the easiest way to give like an overview is a lot of brainwashing, a lot of mind games and manipulation techniques to kind of shock kids into going along with their program. At the end of the day, like I said, it is more of a for-profit business, so that's kind of why you see a lot of the marketing campaigns from them saying, oh, the kids will be swimming and in jet skis and this and that, and blah, blah. And I mean, if you talk to any of the survivors on Facebook, the groups to us, like that's just totally not the case.
That is awful. I know you said that some of them were closed for severe child abuse, torture, some rape too.
Yeah.
What kind of things did you experience there?
So all the above, honestly. As far as the physical stuff goes, I mean, I was really sick one day, and I was in this we call it worksheets. You're like in the punishment area. You're sitting on the edge of a chair, the last 4 inches of it, and you're made to like write code from a video just over and over till you're finished. And I had a temperature, and I was really sick. And so sometime between them, I was crying. The admin, Jason Finlinson, came in and grabbed me by my shoulder and threw me into the wall behind me, kicked me down the hallway, and put me in a room that was like the secondary punishment room called R&R, restraint and restriction, where I spent the next day, 2-3 days, I don't even know how long it was, laying on my stomach with my feet and my hands tied behind my back.
Wow.
I actually remember that at the end also, not only did I cramp up, but I had, like, if you put your body on concrete for too long on the rocks, you have the bumps on it. I had the bumps on my chin from that. And that's kind of like, for me, a lot of other kids had a lot more physical abuse there. For me, after that happened, I was still 12 at this point, so I was a little bit more scared. I got pushed around, slapped around a little bit afterwards, but that was kind of the biggest thing that happened to me. On top of that, the sexual thing, the rape thing, on the girls' side, which we never get to see the girls, they were on the opposite side for us. I did hear stories of much, much, much worse stuff happening to them. But for me, like it was basically I was asleep one night in a bunk bed area where my roommates weren't in there, and I woke up in the middle of the night and I smelled like a really strong odor of beer, and I noticed that my pants or my shorts were pulled around to my knees, and obviously I wouldn't do that myself. And to this day, I honestly don't know if I blacked out the rest of it, or I don't remember what exactly happened. I know, as far as I can remember, I don't think I was actually like raped, like physically. But I do remember feeling very, very disgusted by it, and trying my best to talk to my parents about it later on. And they really didn't believe me. They thought I was manipulating them, as the program tells the parents we're doing. So I don't think I ever really brought it up too much after that. But once again, a lot of the survivors in my Facebook group have went through much more, everything from being actually physically raped, taken away from the side of the building, to committing suicide and hanging themselves on a basketball net from the same facility that I was at in Mexico.
Oh, wow. I'm a survivor of childhood sex abuse as well. So, and I know with my PTSD, I did block out a lot. And, they say that's your brain's way of protecting you, so you don't kind of remember that kind of awful stuff. But I do remember some. In your biography, I also read that you almost died 8 times in your life. You've been shot, stabbed, kidnapped, all kinds of stuff. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I was shot at a very young. I didn't get shot actually. Thank God.
Okay, yes, thank God.
The shooting thing actually happened when I was a really young kid. Me and one of my good friends back at the time named Kevin were playing a basketball game, and he had put a bet down, and then we lost the game, and he didn't want to pay the bet. I didn't really even know about it, so he told me like, "Yo, we got to get out of here." So we ran, and we were running. This was like maybe right down the street from my parents' house in Pascagoula, Mississippi. The guy shot at us. I'm not sure if they were trying to shoot over our head because they knew we were kids or what it was, but it definitely was, one, a quick, like, oh my gosh, but two, for me, being that age, like, and being hard-headed, I was like, oh, I must be Superman. Like, you can shoot at me and not hit me. So it kind of it was kind of a bad thing almost for me moving forward. The different times in my life when I was hurt, been from anything from car accidents, which, we totaled the car, flipped over 6-7 times, to lodging a car off the interstate into a sewer drain, to finally at 23, 24 years old, having half of my face and my jaw basically ripped off and being thrown into a concrete sidewalk where they had to take bone out of my head and place it back in my body. I think most of my surgeries, at least 10 to 15 surgeries that I had in my adult life, major ones where I was, put under anesthetics and stuff, was directly related from that incident. But, eventually I got all my teeth back and everything turned out okay. The doctors did an amazing job.
Yeah, they
even
did.
though,
You look great.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
But I still stayed kind of hard-headed after that. I mean, I remember getting into a fight in New Orleans about 2 years after I healed up, and I was like, I wonder if I can get punched in the face and I would be okay still. Because I really wanted to know, like, how weak is my jaw now, and
Right.
it was okay. I got a little chip, and that was it. I spent a lot of time between those ages doing a lot of crazy things. Like I don't have any where I place blame, even with what happened to me with the guys throwing me into the concrete sidewalk. I've forgiven that. I've let it go. I don't remember what happened, honestly. They had a little bit of audio and video and tapes and, witnesses that were all there. I kind of attribute to me living a crazy lifestyle and glad to be out of that lifestyle now.
Yeah, definitely. Your story is very inspirational. You said that you're a felon too. Can you talk about that for a little bit?
Yeah, so shortly after high school, after going to all these boot camps, I went to a couple other ones. After I went to the one in Mexico, I graduated from high school early at 17 and started college. And I was like, you can't tell me anything. The world is mine. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I started realizing that I could purchase drugs from Mississippi and bring them to Alabama, where they were paying double for them. I started doing that, and eventually it caught up with me. I think I was charged when I was around 21 or 22, maybe 23 at the oldest. And I was charged with distribution of controlled substances. It was a sting operation by the federal government and the state government locally in Alabama. And they had that one charge where they set the sting up on me. And from there, I ended up doing, about a year or so in jail, a year or so in rehab, just over a couple of years in prison, 2 years on house arrest with an electronic monitoring bracelet, a year or so of probation, and, just all kind of stuff from there, which I remained hard-headed throughout the whole time. I remember I failed 16 piss tests for smoking marijuana before the judge finally said, we're sending you to prison now for this. You're not getting any more chances.
Hey, they gave you a lot of chances, I guess.
Yeah, they did. I mean, in my mind, I was like, I haven't been convicted yet. I don't deserve to be on probation right now. But, in their mind, it was like, that's not how it works. So I'm like, okay, I got it. And even when I got out, I kind of stayed in the same lifestyle for a short year after. I was getting kind of heavier back into it. And that kind of came, like, as an adult, kind of came to be a turning point. It was one day my dad in like 2011 or 12, November 3rd, he came and said, Rocky, you're not living at home anymore. You're not really asking us for money. I think you should just get out of town for a while. And I had a girl at the time and a set friend circle. I was really, infused in my identity. And I let go of all of it. Just complete separation, went 8,000 miles away to India and started living a different life. And I like to say, like, on the podcast I do, that, like, I'm not sure if I made that decision by myself or if something from up above came and kind of guided me through that, because I don't recall, like, saying, hey, I want to do this. Hey, let's do this. It just kind of all happened and flowed. And, 7 years later, I end up now where I am, west side of LA, doing well, successful business, away from the drugs and the crime and the selling and the group of people that I was, so connected to and that I felt kind of obligated to, almost in a certain sense, to show myself as a certain character, show my certain who I am to them. And, everything from the music I listened to the movies I watched, to the stuff I put in my body. I changed all of that, and I do believe that from the food to the diet to the exercise, the people, that all of it played a part. It wasn't just one issue, because it didn't just happen overnight. I didn't just
Right.
all of a sudden one day become better. I made a lot of mistakes the last couple of years. Even recently, I made some mistakes that could have hurt me more. But the most important thing is nowadays, when I started to feel my body energy going towards those mistakes, I'm really quick to have what I call almost a recovery day and recovery week. Just kind of bounce back to what I know is good, try to do some more thinking, internalizing, meditation, exercise, listening to podcasts and YouTube videos of the positive things and the right things I want to hear, I want to put in my body. And it's still a journey. I'm still on the journey, and the journey is the magic. It's a beautiful journey. Once you
Yeah.
learn to let go of the expectation of the endings, and just live in that moment. And I have to, like I said earlier, like come back to every once in a while and say, Rocky, this is the beautiful part. Enjoy it. It's going to be up and down. It's going to be some struggles sometimes. It's all about what you learn from, deal from, and how you go with it.
Yeah, definitely. I was a drug addict from age 18 to 36, and then I became pregnant. They told me I could never become pregnant. Became pregnant and just quit everything cold turkey because I didn't want to mess anything up with my son. And I think that was definitely a higher power intervening too, because I think otherwise I might be dead somewhere in a hotel room from drugs,
Yeah,
And
I mean,
it is a daily thing that you have to go through, and you get cravings and that kind of stuff, and you do have to put yourself back on track, definitely.
definitely. And unfortunately, that's kind of the endings for. I was addicted to opiates for quite a period of time, and then I kind of have an addictive nature anyway. So
Yeah.
anything you put in front of me, I try and start loving it and do too much of it. So like, unfortunately, though, people like us, like, if we don't have something, from above or some energy or, some kind of really big intervention come in, we do end up, as I did, in jail, almost dying, in prison, psych wards. Like, that's the ending zone for us if we aren't able to find a way, an intervention, a higher power, outside energy, something from within that's just deeper than what we believe on the surface, to change our lives and to shift it.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely, you have such an inspiring story. And now you're an entrepreneur, which I think is fantastic. You're in the hair and beauty product business, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes. And you get to travel the world all the time, or
Yeah, I
not
mean,
so
I
much
didn't.
nowadays, or
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, even during COVID, I've been to Mexico. I've been all around the U.S. I've been traveling. Travel is huge for me. I have to go to travel, and like I will be careful. I will put my mask on. I will follow the laws and the rules, but I also won't totally stop my life. So I've been around a little bit. Many other people have been as well. I think it's a good balance you have to find there with what's going on in the world today. But yeah, hair. I didn't expect hair to be something that would let me travel the world, and then I started learning more and more about the business. And now that I do it, even when I went to Cancun, I Googled hair extensions there and found a client there that I did a meeting with, and now that she's a client of mine. So I went to Bali in February and found a supplier there for a specialized type of keratin chip that we sell now as well, and just found her, Googling again, walking through Denpasar, went through some small village areas, found her, met her, used Google Translate to talk to her, and found a
wow.
supplier out there. So I'm very, very grateful and blessed for the business and what it allows me to do. And now kind of like something that fulfills me more is being able to share my story and help other people be inspired, motivated, that have kind of been through the same things I have or on the same path maybe, and let them know like, hey, there's a lot more out there for you. Whatever you think you are, whatever your identity is, whatever you think your reputation is, you can transcend that times a million. And it all starts with just the way you think about it. And that's such a simple thing to say and such a deep thing to actually to like set inside you, to like
Yeah.
really, really, get in you. Um, but it's so true. Like, it really is so true. I used to listen to Wayne Dyer a lot, and he kind of talks a lot about how, it's like everything can change with a simple mindset change. And I would be like, I remember like even like 6 months ago, like kind of like having tears in my eyes, like upset at him because like, I like so much he says. I'm like, how can you say it? It's that simple. It's not that simple. And then
Yeah.
I just kept on every day, like every night, every morning, every workout, just listening. And now I finally understand, like, what it really is. Like, you can literally shift outcomes and shift reality just on the thought and the focus you put into it. And I have to remind myself that still on a daily basis too. When I start going off in thought patterns around which I don't need to be, and I have to say, Rocky, remember what you learned? Remember, like,
Yeah.
get back there. So
Yeah, it's definitely a great message of hope. I believe too, life is what you make of it. For so many years, I was in the victim mentality and just, abusing drugs and all that kind of stuff. And when I finally decided that I'm a survivor, like my whole outlook just changed. It's great.
that's all it takes.
Yeah.
That one shift.
It does. It definitely does. Now you said you use Google Translate. I know you speak 4 different languages. What languages do you speak?
So I speak Hindi, Punjabi, Spanish, and then English, obviously.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
I'm impressed. I speak English. That's it.
Yeah. I have a thing for languages. Even when I go to any country in the world, I use Google Translate a little bit, but I automatically just remember how to say like water and please and thank you and certain things that just kind of like help you communicate a little bit better. And that's how I learned all the languages I know. Just I didn't go to school or anything like that, or go live in any other country for an extended period of time, which usually it takes. I really wanted to be able to communicate with these certain people, and you start learning how to say certain things. You ask more about it, and then you kind of learn the rest of it.
That's really cool. Now, outside of work, what kind of things do you do to occupy your time?
So I love being out in nature. Love going to the beach. The beach days are my favorite thing to do. I love being around good people, and traveling. I literally, and I was telling my girlfriend this yesterday. I was like, my zone, my flow, my place comes literally as soon as I get on a plane, or actually, I don't get to the plane, get to the security checkout in the airport, and start like having my bags down, take my shoes off. I just get so excited to just go places. And I've been like that, had like a pattern of that in my childhood. I was sent around to all these different schools and boot camps and facilities, 6 months to 6 months to 6 months. I think it just kind of something developed in me that like, my body like was ready to like see something new and check out a new area. So that's a huge thing for me. I played tennis. I love playing tennis. I played since I was about 3 years old. I was very competitive as a child. I taught as an adult as well. Reading, writing a little bit. I'm currently working on a book. So it's kind of tough because I'm writing about myself. So I really haven't put as much into it as I'd like to so far. I'm kind of going very slow on it. But I do enjoy writing about it. It's a very healing process for me. So,
Yeah, writing is great. I like to write things out too about my experiences. I kind of want to write a book too. My friend and fellow comedian Christy Monroe, she had a really rough life too, and she wrote a book, and it's out on Amazon, which is really great. I just interviewed her like, I don't know, maybe a month ago. She had a very sad life. Her father committed suicide, and then all these horrible things happened. She was sold into sex slavery. Like, it was just one harsh thing after another and after another. And she's a great person. She's very positive. She's got a great outlook on life. And I think, people like us, we can help others with our struggles. Definitely.
yeah, and that's the biggest thing. Because I've been in my business, I was kind of finding a place where like I'm helping other people in a certain sense, and I'm not really feeling as fulfilled as I want to. And then about 6 months, maybe less than that ago, I started sharing a little bit of my story on my business to my business clients. I was really scared. I was like, oh, they're going to know I'm a felon. They're going to know what's happening. They're not going to work with me. But my parents tell me the same thing. Don't tell people this and that. You're going to lose business, this and that.
Right.
And some of them started reaching out to me and saying, Rocky, man, I didn't know this about you. I read this, and I'm so glad and so much more happy I work with you now. And it really inspired me. And I was like, you know what? If I can inspire my business clients, then why not be able to do it with other people as well? And I really like the direction I'm going now because I want to do this more and more. Talk to more people on podcasts. I want to eventually, when COVID clears up, go do events and speak and try to help with schools, and especially out of the country as well. Because, I mean, we have it at a certain level. We have it like kind of a little easier in America. We all have our struggles, and it's tough everywhere. Yeah. But in countries like the third world, a lot of times kids don't get the opportunity, but they don't have money to even hear from someone that could ever be motivational or inspirational to them. So I'd like to bring that to them as well.
That would be fantastic. I think that's a great idea. Definitely. Yeah. You have any upcoming podcasts that you want to promote or anything?
To be honest, I have about 12 to 15 coming up. So
my
website, my website, Rocky Kandola. I'll update everything on there, rockykandola.com. I don't really, at this point, I'm not saying no to anybody. Like I said, it's healing me also to talk about it. So right. I don't see myself ever saying like, no, I won't do it until I get so booked up that I just have to schedule it better. So if you follow me on my blog, like I'll be updating and sharing the links and the audio feed, video feed to every single podcast that I do.
Awesome.
So yeah, I guess that's the best way to follow it.
That's cool. Are you on Twitter or Instagram, any of those?
Yeah, I'm on literally every sub. I like to say that I'm probably one of the easiest people in America to find. My phone number, my actual addresses, everything is public. And it's all at Rocky Kandola, ROCKY. And then my last name is KANDOLA, Rocky Kandola. And my website is rockykandola.com.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I had a really good time talking to you, and I wish you the best in the future in your endeavors. And thanks.
Thank you so much, April. I really appreciate you having me on tonight. And blessings to you in your journey as well. I love
Thank you.
connecting with people that have been through the like things, man, because it's always feel the special kind of connection there, especially even just looking, even though we're on the phone, like looking each other's eyes, like I understand.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you.